What's up guys, KobaltKai here. Welcome back to my game development of Kaiju Chronicles. The last time I gave you guys an update, it was a rather brief one, honestly. But basically, I made monsters. And this time, I made more monsters. You guys, I cannot tell you how thankful I am for your support on Patreon, Buy Me a Coffee, YouTube, and for Affinity for helping me actually get this far in developing my game. Kaiju Chronicles is now much closer to the beta launch for the first patch. However, that launch is still quite a distance away. You see, the thing is that when the game launches, I will very likely make a mini game where you can access some of the characters starting off so that you guys can get a feel for what the game's going to be like. But finishing the full game, it's going to take a while. So, as always, I'm going to get right into it. For those of you who are not aware what the game's about, Kaiju Chronicles is essentially a monster VORE game. Essentially, you either get eaten by monsters or you eat them to level up. And I'm going to take the concept further than that, hopefully. So, let's get right into it. I have quite a big update for you guys. By the way, that music in the background was actually made a few hours ago on Audacity by me. There's no AI in it whatsoever, it's just full hands, full fingers, and full programming. So, let me know what you think about it in the comments below, and let's get right into the video. Guys, I cannot tell you just how busy I have actually been designing each and every single character for this game. They're pretty easy to design, honestly. Like, sprite work is actually surprisingly easy when you know how to draw something like 2,000 times its size, but oh my gosh, I just, like, last time I showed you guys this in the last video, but like, I've just kept going, and I kept going, and I kept going, and now I'm at like this. I mean, the characters are now getting this tall, and like, every time I post a video, these characters are getting bigger. I might need to get something checked out here. I mean, the game is called Kaiju Chronicles for a reason. As the game progresses, each character is supposed to get bigger. But essentially, I want to show you guys some of these characters, like, because what you're seeing right now is their sprite designs on screen, but you're not seeing the size of them in game. So, to put it bluntly, we are about 2/3 through the roster, and I have maybe about over 100 other characters planned. It depends on what I manage to pull off, honestly. But this guy's my favorite. So, it's Bowser Day, and to commemorate that, I decided that while I'm making all these monsters, I'd make one that's actually inspired by Bowser. Now, I can't make Bowser specifically and add him to my game because that would be copyright infringement. Also because I actually respect Nintendo, which is a little hard to do sometimes with their decisions sometimes, like with the Star Fox universe. But that being said, over the last few days, I've actually been working on designing different characters based off of concepts that I personally wanted to see expanded on in either anime, manga, or games. This one was a little bit inspired by the Nargacuga from Monster Hunter, but for the most part, each of these monsters I plan to, in the long term, make sure they have one idle animation, one attack animation, and one special ability, or one special attack, honestly. But a big source of the inspiration I have for this game actually comes from the games Barbftr and Panftr, which honestly are still very well animated. You can find them on Fur Affinity, honestly, and I'd just say, really, the animations for those games, in spite of being flash animations, I think they run at like 24 to 30 frames per second. It's actually very impressive, but that actually inspired a lot of the designs that I'm using. This one had a little bit of Dragonite, but I added Gohan's hair. So it's like Dragon Ball Z, but it's the dragon instead. So anyway, a lot of these characters, I'm not planning on having them all just like in the same place, but rather there's a high probability you will have to unlock them as the game progresses, kind of as a reward system. This guy's probably going to be in lava, and this guy's probably going to be hunting you. So just a heads up. But essentially, let's see. what else was I going to announce? Oh yeah, I've gotten better at sprite work. So this was the first draft of my not Willem character, and this is the second draft. So honestly, I'm really happy with how this turned out. And to show you guys, wow, before I even show you guys what's next, I just want to say, if you guys have any ideas you want to recommend in the comments below, like this pangolin idea, this was actually recommended by someone on For Affinity, I will happily add it to the game. It is almost guaranteed because I want to add as many characters as possible. So I'm going to show you guys this real quick. This, let's see, where is it? Here it is. So this is the current map of all the different monsters that I have in game, combined with their size. Now, as you can see here, they're actually pretty small, actually. Some of them are actually pretty big, honestly, but I forgot how to scroll. Okay. But anyway, this raccoon right here, this guy, this is very likely to be the starting character. So, and as the game progresses, you would likely have to fight each monster getting bigger and bigger, or figure out how to live with them after each boss battle. So I do plan to like build some semblance of a world, honestly, or a world concept, just like, so I don't know currently how far I plan to take it, but I was thinking of the idea that if the characters like you enough, then they will not repeatedly attack you each time that you defeat them in a boss battle. But if they don't like you, then they'll just like keep respawning, and it'll make the game harder and more challenging. But if you get them to your side, then you can essentially have an easier game. But anyway, the music that's playing in the background is actually music I recently developed for this game specifically. It was a little bit hard, a little bit fun. Well, actually, I did it today, so it might need a little bit of polishing up. Honestly, I'm actually a little bit nervous. You can probably hear it in my voice about how the quality of the game is. But currently, these are all the characters that I have in game for their pixels. So we have the 4 bears, 1 grizzly, 1 black bear, 1 panda, because pandas, and 1 polar bear, combined with 1 yeti, 1 very nasty enemy that I mentioned might be trying to kill you from the start of the game. And this is the actual in-scale size of, I can't call him Bowser, what should his name be? I'm gonna call him Bryson Bower. So this is the size of Bryson Bower's size. Well, so good luck dodging any fireballs he breathes. And I think I almost made like a Ninetales that's about 1/10 the size of the one from Naruto, which is pretty cool, but I don't want to make it too big because then you can't actually see the character's animations, and that kind of gets in the way. But that being said, I wanted to add an elephant character to this because honestly I don't see it done too much in the furry community, and I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. Animating these guys should be pretty simple, pretty easy for me, and the reason for that is because I've already animated stuff before, but like these trees are animated at a low frame rate. Probably almost the same frame rate the characters will be animated at, but I don't really plan to have them like animated at such low quality because it destroys the immersion. I'll have to wait and see what I can pull off. But essentially, yeah, these are the 2 alien characters that I have in the game right now, and there are at least over 100 other alien characters I would like to add to the game. And this guy is just a very fat pig. That's probably going to be the thumbnail, just like my character standing on his shoulder. Wow, it actually looks like my character standing on his shoulder. But yeah, this is basically the monster update for this month, at least so far. And I wanted to show you guys this because not only have I added these characters, I've also added a return to game menu. So now I'm able to actively close the menu. and I've also managed to, well, I've also found a way to add a run feature, which is pretty important, you know, because like when you're trying to survive monsters, the thing that you have to do the most of very likely would be run. You have to be able to like run away, evacuate, whatever. But essentially, these are all the characters that I currently have in development right now. And this guy is the guy you will very likely start off playing as. But as the game progresses, it's very likely that you should be able to unlock the characters. I'll have to wait and see what RPG Architect is fully capable of before I add too many things. But I should mention that outside of this area I developed and the forest, I do plan on segmenting the game into like little pocket regions that you would have to move to and from, kind of like in Final Fantasy VII. So you'd like walk here and there's just a path here, or like in Paper Mario, and then you're in another three-dimensional section. Essentially, I'm planning on making it a split open world game, and the purpose of this is because with each update I add, I actually plan to update each individual region as well with each update. So if I add a mechanic or design to one region, I will very likely add that same mechanic to another region. So for the most part, this means that the game will very likely start being full of things very soon, but at the same time I have to ensure it's not generic. So that being said, these are all of the player monsters. These are all of the player monsters that you guys can play as currently in game. The others that I'm developing, they're actually, how do I say it? They're actually right here. So I'm going to show you guys the other characters that I actually have in store. These guys, like I said before, they're pretty easy to actually put in game. I don't think I added this guy. He's actually based off the dragon from Barbftr. But that being said, this character is based off of Spyro. It's not Spyro for copyright purposes, but I wanted to draw an adult version of Spyro that felt adult, you know, because like, I don't know about you guys, but it always bothers me how his head is so big in literally every single game and his body's so small. But this character is a gargoyle who was inspired also from gargoyles from Disney, but I altered the face as well as the color scheme. Same with this guy and this one. This character is actually my favorite so far. So these characters are the ones that I plan on adding later on in the game. This one is probably going to be the most overpowered one for quite a bit of time, honestly. So, I also want to say that a fan previously recommended that a Sergal be added to the game, or Sergal. I don't really have too much experience with them, so this was my first time actually designing one. And let me know what you guys think of the design in the comments below. But I have also, since I made a forest, I also added a silverback gorilla. The Minotaur idea was also very popular with you guys, so I added that too. And I have also added one alien character that will be in the game, as well as that one pig from before. So, good luck fighting this guy. But that being said, I believe that there's something oh yeah, here it is. So, what you are looking at currently right now is actually a sprite of the League of Legends character Willem. And the reason why I'm showing this is because this is quality that I'm looking to see if I can manage to get in my sprite work. I can't guarantee I can animate something like this, considering that Riot just had like Riot Forge release 3 games that couldn't really animate it too well either. I mean, the Mage Seeker tried and it was a very good game, but if I manage to pull off this quality, then that's my goals as a sprite animator being met 100%. Just fully like 3D, because I can already animate this. It might sound weird, but like, even though I can't draw this, I can animate this. And once I figure out how to draw it, I can essentially make sure that, stay still. I can see how realistic I can make the game essentially, because the way that things are currently, And I know it might feel like I'm rambling on about this, but the way things are currently in the game, realism actually matters to me a lot, because without good realism and without a good atmosphere, it just kind of feels like my game is generic. Like, you guys see how simple it is, like the design right here. The fact is that outside of the characters who are actually in prototype models, these are not the full models, these are like prototype models. So if I animate them like this, it's possible I'll animate them like this, but I also might add more shading or lighting so that they're more like the trees. Either way, I'm probably going to shoot for 12 to 16 frames per second in their neutral animations so that they feel alive. I might have to stretch it so that each character has a different animation length of, like, smaller characters have like 12 frames per second and it's just the bouncing animation. Bigger characters like this guy, he might bounce once or twice, scratch his head, blow fire from his nose, look around, essentially start stomping on the ground or something. And I don't even want to get started on this guy because I'm going to have to animate each of his 9 tails. It's going to be pretty fun, honestly, but I already know how to do it. I've just been pretty lazy almost. Well, sometimes with designing like 9 tails characters. So this is going to be potentially a leap of faith for me. But that being said, these grass tiles probably won't be used. I will very likely be using parallax mapping. And what parallax mapping is it's essentially taking an image and putting it over the game so that the game is actually basically made of images with collision in them. And what that would do is essentially it makes the game look a lot more realistic. And this guy that you're seeing on screen right now, I have to update him just like these other guys. He's actually I forgot the name of the guy. It's the RPG architect. It's not Bert. It's not Bert. I literally comment on his channel. But one of the RPG architect workers, he actually designed this character himself. But as I get these characters developed, I'll very likely be updating this guy to look like the other humans. And if I don't, it's very likely this will actually be a kid called Kid Kaiju. Of course, Marvel literally took the idea earlier, so I'm probably going to have to change that to like Kaiju Kid or something, who knows. But essentially this is where everything is right now. So, personal question, you guys. Which of these characters do you guys want to be the first secondary character? Who's the first character you want to unlock? And just a heads up, if they have to be smaller than the trees, okay? They can't be as tall as the trees. So this guy, for example, he's available. This guy, yes. These 4, definitely. This guy is a very close to saying, man, this guy, he's almost too big. But any of these guys that's smaller than the trees, just comment down below if you'd like to see any of them specifically. If not, it's fine. And currently, well, I'm going to see if I can possibly add more sprites and like more trees and more grass, because I want this world to feel as 3D as possible for a 2.5D game. So I'll see you guys later, and I hope you have a good day. Don't forget to support me on Patreon or buy me a coffee, and I'll see you later. Bye.